Hi, everybody. We're going to be starting Unit 5, which is all about lists, loops, and traversals. We're going to start doing some different activities. Typically, we would do in groups in class, but we're going to try and use some online manipulatives to do that. So you're going to be filling out this presentation as we go. I'm including this video to help walk you through any parts that maybe you're having trouble with. It is kind of long for this first section. There's going to be a bunch of activities that you need to complete in here, answer some questions. Again, I'm going to walk you through it in these videos. And then at the end, we're going to, you can see how long it is. At the end, there's a couple of videos that we'll watch together. I'll probably set this up as another video. And then there's a couple questions that you'll want to answer on code.org. So let's get started. You may want to go either leave it in this form and kind of scroll through, or you can view it as the presentation and then turn it off when you have to complete certain tasks. But for the sake of the size of the screen, I'm just going to view it as a presentation. Okay. So today we're going to complete this activity. Obviously, we do not need these things because we are going to be doing it on this presentation. So first of all, a variable, which we've been working with, in a block form, it looks like this, can be used to store one piece of information. So for example, my name, Jose. All right. This is another way that you can write it without using the block if you switch to the text. I do want you to notice that anytime you want actual words to show up or letters to show up, they're in quotations where numbers are not. All right, so instead of using the baggies, we're going to use something similar on here. All right, so if we just have one variable, that's fine. But what if we have lots of information that we need to store? All right, and that's what this chapter is going to be about. We're going to learn how to build apps that store and process large amounts of information. So it's important that we understand how lists work and how to create them and work with them and change them. So list at least one of the challenges you would face if you needed to store 10, 100, 1,000 pieces of information. All right, so if it's a variable, like on the last example, my name, or if there's just a couple things, that's fine. But what if you have 100 different things to put in there? Think about one of the problems. So just in your own words, put down one issue that you think you would have if you had a large amount of information. All right, one thing that I thought about sorry, I got something in my throat here. One thing that I thought about was, if you have 50 different things, you're going to have to make a separate variable for each piece of information, and it could get really difficult to name them all. So that's just one thing I thought of. All right, so now we're going to get into creating lists, because that's what's going to help us to organize large amounts of information. We'll start small, but today we're going to look at this sample. It's going to show us how we can create our lists rather than having a big gallon-sized bag. This is our gallon-sized bag. You can edit the name. You can copy and paste these things, all right, to make the smaller, to make the smaller bags, and you can change those as well. You have your sticky notes here and then the tape to show that it's taped together. I know it seems kind of silly, but this is what we would be doing if we were in class with actual bags and tape and sticky notes. So this is just a sample to show you how you can do that. So you can just click on an item, hit Control D, and it will duplicate it, move it around, and edit things. So let me show you an example. So the gallon baggie connected to smaller baggies. So this is lunch food. And I want you to notice that each of the smaller baggies can only hold one piece of information. So these are like your variables. All right. The gallon baggies, the name of your list altogether, it's named with the same rules as a variable, so you cannot have spaces. Okay, lunch food, there's no spaces. It can't start with a number. All right. Notice the second word, the first letter of your second word is capitalized. Remember, that's Camelback text, so you can easily see that it's lunch food. If that was all just lowercase, it might be hard to tell where that second word is. And the smaller baggies are numbered starting at 0. That's important. So 0, 1, 2, and on up. So one piece of information in each one. Each is numbered starting at 0 and going up, and then the name of your list goes right here, and it's going to be the same rules as you would for a variable. All right, so this is what I did for mine. I just made duplicates of 3 of these, 3 pieces of tape, and then these sticky notes. So being a math teacher, I chose functions as the name of my group. So I have 3 elements in my group. I have linear functions, quadratic, and exponential. Bringing you guys back, I'm sure. Oh my goodness, come on. This thing's so sensitive. Again, this is what you're going to do. On the next slide, you're going to create your own. So you are going to start with the number 0 and work your way up. You are going to put 1 item inside of each baggie and tape them together. So this is where I would hit escape and end your presentation so you can edit this. So again, basically, if you just click on it, hit Control D, it makes a new baggie. You can slide it down. You want to have, it says make a list, like the examples on the previous slides, that holds between 2 and 4 values. So if you wanted to do 2 of them, there's 2. Oops, I forgot to. My goodness, come on. Make sure you make a copy. So Control D, make a couple copies. Maybe you want 3 items. All right. And then inside of there, you want to tape them together. I just lost the top, but that's okay. You can fix that. This is just real quick to show you. So again, just hit Control D. We'll tape all these together. I think you get the idea. All right, and then you're going to put a sticky note. Oops, again, let's make a copy. And no, it doesn't matter which color. Put 1 in each of those baggies, I guess. I'm going to fix this. All right, there we go. I want the whole thing. So remember, when you're numbering these, 0, next one is 1, and then 2, and so on. And then slide those in, tape them together. Come up with something. Maybe you want to do like summer activities or sports, or it could be a variety of different things. I used types of functions because, well, I'm a math teacher. The example that they gave you was lunch food, so they had nachos, pizza, and soup. So just create a list of your own that has 3 different items in it. All right. Just a couple more things about this, and then I'll end this first video. There will be more videos walking you through each of these, but so if we were in class, we would actually have plastic bags. So your list is made up of elements. So each of these baggies, so if I go back to this, each of these baggies contains 1 element. So you have a linear function as an element, a quadratic, an exponential. Or a nacho, pizza, and soup. Those are each called elements. The number is the index. All right, so each element has its own index, and they start at 0 and count up. The length of the list is how many elements it contains. So this list has 3 elements, and the indexes are from 0 to 2. All right. So notice that all the bags can be folded up and placed inside the big variable baggie. Sometimes we want to think about the whole list, but sometimes we also want to think about individual elements. So that's why it's created the way it is. So basically, these are all types of lunch food. All right. If you wanted to look at lunch food as a whole, you could look at the whole list, or you could just zero in on one of those elements. All right, so again, you're creating that list on this page. Create your own list. You can edit it. If you have questions, let me know, and then you're going to be answering some questions about it, and I'll address that in the next video. If you have any questions, stop by Math Lab or come and see me.